Hey everyone, welcome back to CK Cycles. Well, it's time to get going on the 1999 Yamaha Vmax again. This bike has been sitting around in my shop for the past few months, and I have a collection of boxes over on my parts table as I have been collecting parts and things that the bike needs. Several projects have come and gone in this shop, and this has just been sitting, so I'm excited to get working on it. So what I would like to do to get going on repairing this bike is to get the front end taken care of first. The fork seals need to be replaced, thus I have the forks and the front wheel removed. The triple tree clamp, the lower portion of it, needs to be replaced. Handlebars are bent and need to be replaced. The clutch master cylinder is ground in and it is leaking around the cap at this point. I also need to source a speedometer and source a headlight for the bike. All of those things should complete the front end in addition to the front fender, which is needed. I'm going to start in this episode with replacing the lower triple tree clamp. There's a small limiter tab on each side of the neck of the motorcycle which prevents, or is supposed to prevent, the handlebars from turning too far in either direction. I believe, and I think it's probably a pretty safe assumption, that in the accident the handlebars were pushed all the way to the right. The limiter tab on the left side of the lower triple tree clamp was snapped off, and thus the handlebars were able to travel beyond their intended limit and damaged the faux tank. I was able to source a replacement lower triple tree clamp that had both of the limiter tabs in place. I was kind of a bit surprised, but when I was shopping for a replacement lower triple tree clamp, I found that quite a few tabs had been snapped off. So maybe this is a common problem with the Vmax, but I'm not 100% sure. So in this episode, I'm going to get the lower triple tree clamp replaced. I'm also going to replace the bent handlebars. I think that they're a shortened drag bar, and I'm going to replace them with some OEM Vmax handlebars and get the grips put back in place and kind of get the steering component of the motorcycle all done. That way I can then move on to replacing the clutch master cylinder, rebuilding the forks and getting the forks and the front wheel back on, and then find a front fender for this bike. First step here is I'll get my switch clusters removed. Throttle cables here have been snapped, and so replacing those will be a part of the repair as well. Next, I'll remove the clutch and brake master cylinders. It looks like the front brake master cylinder ties into this union right here that then drops down to each one of the front brake calipers. The front brake calipers I have hanging here with some string that I did when I took the front wheel and the front fork off of the bike. I've disconnected the brake switch leads here on the bottom of the front brake master cylinder, and so it looks like I can remove these two screws. And with that, the whole unit, the master cylinder, both calipers, all the hoses should remain intact and sealed, and I can take them off as one unit and then replace them as one unit. So I'm going to leave my strings here tied. Hopefully that will catch, the entire setup as I remove these. Okay. There we go. The clutch master cylinder, the hose goes down and then eventually to the clutch. I think I may just kind of string this back a little bit here until I can fully disassemble it. I really should probably take it off right now and bleed it out. That way I won't have brake fluid all over the place, since I am replacing this. As you can see, it's ground in pretty good. So I think I'm just going to do that. I don't want the fluid in here dripping all over the bike as I'm trying to do this work. So let's get that done. I'll put some gloves on. Okay, that fluid's not looking too good. Move that banjo bolt. Given the condition of this fluid, I'm thinking the entire hydraulic clutch system needs to be fully bled and the fluid replaced when I get the new master cylinder on. So we'll put a baggie on that and it can drip all at once and it won't drip on the bike, destroying the finish. Okay. Happy with that. Right like that. I do not have a socket to fit it. I probably have a standard socket that would fit it, but I don't want to tear this up. So let's see if I can verify. Yeah, I'd say 27 millimeter. So I need to run and pick up a 27 millimeter socket and I can get that removed. Here's the lower triple tree clamp that I took off of the 99 Vmax, and here you can see the right, let's see here, yep, right, no, left. That's right, this is forward. The left limiter tab broken off. I was able to source another lower triple tree clamp. The one thing I had to pay attention to with this clamp is the fork tube diameter. I believe earlier Vmaxes, maybe 92 and earlier, had a 40 millimeter fork tube. Whereas this 99, I think has a 43, yeah, a 43 millimeter fork tube. So I believe I have sourced the correct size here in the lower clamp, but I guess I will now measure and actually find out. Okay, so upon initial inspection, this looks pretty good. The left limiter tab is in place, but it is worn in a little bit. Like I can see where it's been worn in. So the bearing feels pretty good. The clamp screws do look to be a little corroded here, so I will probably use the clamp screws, which are in better condition, out of this lower tube. And just to be sure, let's see where we're at. .31, 42.7. So I think that this is the correct lower triple tree clamp. So I'm going to get this run through the parts washer and get it all cleaned up. And then I'm going to pack the bearing here with grease. I'm glad I don't have to replace that. And then we will work to get this installed on the 99 Vmax. It's nice that they included all of the parts. That's appreciated, because then I can kind of pick and choose which parts are best, you know, and will look the best and be serviceable on the bike. Use a little WD here to get as much water out of that bearing as I can before I pack it with some fresh grease. This is the upper bearing here. Oop, forgot my bearing. See if I can slide a fork in here to align these so I can tighten the top nut here. These posts for the speedometer bracket have a little rust on them. I'm going to clean those up here before I install it. Smear a little grease on them here. Maybe help prevent them from rusting any further. All right, new bar time. Oh, aren't those pretty? All right, we'll just leave those hand tight for now, since I'm sure there'll be some movement and adjustment in the future. All right, everybody, well, I think that will be it for this episode. I'm pretty happy with the progress I've made on rebuilding the front end of this 99 Vmax. Things are feeling pretty good, and I'm pretty excited about the brand new handlebars. I think that they look pretty nice. In the next episode, I'm going to work to get the forks rebuilt and reinstalled onto the bike so that then I can install the front tire. From there, I'll move on and reinstall the front brake system, and then I'm going to work to rebuild the clutch master cylinder. Beyond that, I need a headlight, speedometer, and a new front fender. And then about at that point, the front end should be done. So stay tuned.